Hello guys and welcome back on my channel. I'm Brigitta and today I'm showing you how I made this watercolor painting. This is called Resting Chimera and today I want to show you my complete artistic process. That includes looking for references, drawing on my sketchbook, tracing said sketch digitally, tracing it back on fine watercolor paper, and then finally painting the actual piece. So let's begin. I usually start by browsing through my sketchbook for some good ideas that are already ready to be turned into paintings. This time I couldn't find anything that fit my idea for this piece, so I put my sketchbook aside and I started looking into my books. I feel like I should dedicate a video or two to my resources because they're really important to me and they provide me with a lot of visual inspiration for all of my pieces, both digital and traditional. So who knows, maybe I'll film a short video for each of my books. Right now, let's go back to the actual work I'm discussing in this video. None of my books helped me come up with a clear idea, so I turned my back on them and turned on my computer. This is where I keep the vast majority of my references. I think I found the right picture for this painting. This engraving in particular illustrates the portal of the Church of San Lorenzo in Genova, so yeah, we can finally start drawing. I never measure anything during this stage because I just need to have a clear idea of where the horizon needs to be, where the focal points are. So this is why I just use a postcard instead of a ruler. I just find numbers distracting when I'm freely sketching. The drawing is done. I can scan it and I can trace it. I need to draw on a digital canvas in order to fix all the wonky lines, define all the details, and change everything that looks right on a small drawing but actually looks pretty weird when I'm zooming in. Another essential thing I need to do when I'm reworking the base drawing is create a shadow map. This helps me paint without worrying about where I need to put the first layers of color. From here, I can start constructing every other value and get closer to the actual colors of the image. Now, you might have noticed that I called this a watercolor painting at the beginning of this video. The truth is 90% of this painting was made using ecolines, which are semi-permanent inks. They are way easier to work with when it comes to building layers of colors that don't budge and don't completely reactivate when you wet them again. Another wonderful feature of ecolines is that you can achieve nice gradients of color just by wetting them and using tons of water. This creates some sort of shifts that are different from those found in watercolor, which granulate and separate. This is more like a smooth gradient. Here I just laid down black pigment and I was able to get blue and even green out of it. Do not ask me what phenomenon explains this particular behavior. I'm just taking advantage of this particular feature to create more color variation. Another important thing that I had to do very early was paint the lion the right shade of black. The right value of black, actually. Because I didn't want to finish the background first and then find out that everything was unbalanced because the creature was too black compared to the architectural elements behind it. That would have been extremely bothersome and it would have meant reworking the background again. So what I did was figure out the dark values of the creature in the foreground first and then paint the background accordingly. From then on, I just had to add layer after layer after layer in order to construct all the volumes and all the shapes gradually to give it the right level of depth and interest. What I tried to do is keep the contrast high in the center of the piece and low in the corners to focus the attention on the central area. I had to cut out an immense amount of footage from this video because I kept turning the paper left and right. So as you can see, the sped up version of the footage is absolutely unwatchable without a right amount of guts. Gave me an headache while I was editing it. I'm really not used to filming myself painting because I usually just record the screen when I'm painting digitally, so I don't have to worry about moving my head out of the frame and not covering the drawing with my arms and hands. This is not that bad as a first try though. It could have gone a lot worse. The final touches were added using gouache and pencil. I needed to take out my gouache paints. I needed something solid that would retain its shape and allow me to paint light on top of dark. At some point, I turned my attention to the main subject of the piece, which is, of course, the resting lion, the resting chimera, the winged lion. I also tried to have the green from the background bleed a bit into the lion. Green is an amazing color for shadows because it's rich, it makes everything look way less flat. It gives dimension to everything you put on top. I find working with water-based pigments and colors so humbling because I never seem to achieve the right level of detail and precision I want using only a brush. So this forces me to resort to pens, pencils, and other media to really make every element pop. I feel like I'm not the only artist with this peculiar problem. Watercolors and water-based media is just so tricky to fully master, but I still think I did a nice job. I finished everything with white highlights, which I had to dilute. Here we go, the painting is done. Oh wait, no. This is the ring light reflecting on the frame of the painting. I added a nice glass panel to protect it. But yeah, here's another picture I took without the ring light shining on it. So you can see more clearly all the details on the columns, on the fur, on the wings. By the way, if you like my works, you can find more on my Instagram page. Here it is. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was my first attempt at filming myself paint a traditional piece. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!